Welcome back. I am Packwill, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about the most important life lesson you will not get taught. The most important thing in life you need to learn, in which you will never learn. The most important thing in this life, in which you will never think about. You will shove it to the back of your head. Act like it doesn't happen. It can't happen. It's not true. It can't happen to me. It won't happen to me. It won't happen to you. It can't happen. It just can't. That is your mortality. Musing your mortality. Understanding and accepting that one day you, I, everyone around you will die. One day your heart will stop. One day my heart will stop. One day you'll just be in an urn or in a box in the ground. And yes, you may have a statue about you, or yes, you may be a millionaire, but sooner or later you'll be forgotten like everybody else. You will die into nothing. And the life lesson is understanding and accepting you're going to die. But you can't. In your head, you're eternal. You have a soul, you're conscious, your self, your being, whatever you want to call it. You can't die. You can't just go out of existence. You've got a soul. It must leave your body. You must go to an astral plane, heaven, hell, whatever. You must go somewhere. You can't die. You can't die in your head. You live forever. Which is impossible. And it's totally understandable why you think that. Because the idea of death, the idea of not existing, the idea of just going out of existence is outside your realm of thinking. It's outside your perception, outside anything you can fantasize. The idea of just not existing is impossible. You can't. And so in your head, you must live forever. In your head, you're the eternal, you're the beast of a billion backs, you're the king of your life, you're the master of your fate. You can't die in your head. You're never going to grow old. 1 in 8 of you thinks they're immortal for some reason. There is a survey that says 1 in 8 of you will think they will never die. Over 85% believe there's an afterlife, but we have no proof of an afterlife. Because you can't stand the idea of not existing. The idea that one day you are just going to die and that's it. I can't assure you there is an afterlife, but I cannot assure you either that there isn't an afterlife. No one knows. But you can't put your bets on there is one. You can't put dibs that there is an afterlife. You have to assume that what's around you, is the only thing that exists. You have to. You have to live every day, every moment, every minute like it's your last, because literally it can be. Right now you might die. In half an hour you might have a heart attack. In 2 hours, you might get hit by a car. In 10, there could be a World War III. No one knows. So you have to live every second like it's your last, because it definitely can be. And like I said, you can't put dibs on an afterlife, because there probably isn't. But I can't say yes nor no, because no one really knows in the first place. I can't assure you. I can't give you answers. I can't make this lighthearted. No one can. No one can give you these answers. No one can assure you. No religion can assure you. And on a sidetrack, religions are a joke, okay? There are 4,200 religions on earth alone. That's recorded religions. God knows how many more we've forgotten in time. So are you sure your gods are the right gods? Are the correct ones? This is the most important life lesson which you're never taught. Because as a child, you're told you can be anyone, do anything you want, be anyone you want, become anything you want. But you're never told, yeah, you're going to grow old. You're going to die. You're going to perish like everybody else. You're not immortal. You're not going to live forever. There's not always going to be time. There's not going to be a tomorrow. There's not always a tomorrow. There's not a next week. You can't plan ahead because you never know what the future holds. And the whole idea of foresight is a pile of crap. It can't work. Okay? Plan something out and it definitely won't go as planned. This is a life lesson that no one is taught. And I think this is a serious thing that needs to be taught because it's causing so much unnecessary harm. And it is. I know people in their 40s who haven't come to accept that they're going to die one day. They've probably got a good 30 years left. Fuck that, probably even 20. They've probably got a good 20 years left. And they still haven't come to accept that they're going to die. I've got people in their 60s. I know people who are 62, 63. And they still think they're going to live forever. They're not ever going to die. That one day the heart's not just going to go out. That one day it's all going to end. I'm 20 and I've come to accept that. This guy is 3 times my age. And he hasn't come to accept that one day he's just going to go out of existence. This life lesson is so important. And the problem is, because you're not being taught it, you're not being taught this, you have an unrealistic ideal of how life is going to work. And you do. You procrastinate because there's always another tomorrow. You waste time because there's always the next week. There's always time. You postpone things because there's always time. You don't get round to things because there's always time. There is no time. The only thing that exists is the present. You can't say next week because next week doesn't exist. Because when you get to next week, it's the present. You can't say later on, because there might not be a later on. And that's the problem with this life lesson. You're always being taught there's always time. There's always more. There probably isn't. Okay? There's more beyond this life. There probably isn't. You have to assume. You can't put bets on something you may or may not know. So you have to assume that what all around you, your life, is all that exists. And like I was saying, this life lesson that isn't taught causes so much harm because you waste your life. The majority of you do. You can't. People need to understand that life is fragile. There's no restart. There's no respawn. You don't get killed and get reincarnated. No, that's it. When you die, it's final. It's coming whether you like it or not. You can't stop it. You can't halt it. You can prolong it, maybe 10, 20 years, but in the end, it's still coming for you. You have about 60 to 80 year lifespan. And yes, you get a few stragglers who live to 110 or 106. But they are basically husks. They are physical husks. Would you want to be that? Would you want to be 101 and basically be borderline brain dead in a body you can't work? And yes, it's a little bit of a rant. And you can say, this is a little bit salty, I'm a little bit cruel and otherwise. You can say it's a little bit cruel and mean. But it's a topic that needs to be taught from a young age, and it does. You're never taught this when you're young, that there's not always going to be time. You're going to run out of time. You're going to be too late. Some days. You're going to run out of days one day. There's going to be no more time. All your projects, your hopes, your dreams are all going to come to an end one day. You're going to die. And yes, it may be 60 years away, or 70 in some cases. But in the end, it's coming for you. But like I said, in your head, you can't die. In your head, you're the eternal, the beast with a billion backs. You're the king of your life, the master of your fate. You can't die. It's impossible to you. You can't imagine dying. You can't imagine the idea of breaking down physically. Your heart stopping, every part of your body completely breaking down, losing complete control of bodily functions and just completely giving up. You can't imagine that. You think growing old peacefully, growing old in a peaceful way of slowly marching your way to death. No. The majority of you, as you grow older, when you reach real old age, we're talking 65, 70, the last 4 years of your life will be utterly miserable. And it will be. It will be utterly miserable. You'll be physically breaking down in every sense. Your mind will probably wear. You probably have Alzheimer's in some way or another. Or dementia, you want to call it. You have something like that, where basically you're forgetting who you are. And most likely you have some form of cancer. You are a walking dead man. For the last 4 years of your life will be miserable. But even then, you'd still be thinking, I can't die. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to survive this. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. No, you're not. I think that's one of the bigger problems in this lesson, is the longer you live, the less chance you think of you dying. The more times you survive an infection, the more times you conquer something, the more surgeries you have that can get past something. If you have a stent, if you have an aneurysm and it's been repaired, or you have a heart problem, or you've had cancer and you've beat it, you think it's going to be okay, you can beat this, you can beat anything. No! That's a problem with living. The longer you live, the more humbled you believe you think you can live longer. I've got a few more years. No, you haven't. My gran was a perfect example. She was breaking down in every sense physically, and yet on her deathbed, she still believed that she was going to be okay. It's all going to be fine. She couldn't accept the idea of dying. That when someone actually mentioned it at her side, the look of fear on her face, and all of a sudden it's okay, doesn't matter. She never went out. She never got out of that room. She perished there. This is a life lesson, like I said, it needs to be taught at a young age. The faster you come to accept your mortality, the more you begin to enjoy life because you understand the fragility of it and how quick and short it is. It really is. Oh, it's been 60 years. Trust me, on the great grand scale, 60 years is a flick. It's a blink. In the grand scale of things, it's a thread in the tapestry. 60 years is nothing. 70 years is nothing. And like I said, you need to learn this from a younger age, okay? Because the thing is this, when you're young, you live through this idea that you're never going to die. From like 4 to about 17, 18, you think you're never going to die. Eat what you want, drink what you want, do what you want, you're never going to die. You're immortal. You're never going to do reckless shit, and you're never going to die. You always think you're going to spring back up, you're going to be fine, you're going to respawn somehow, you're going to be okay. You're not going to. Then when you get around 18, 20, you start having an existential crisis, because you realise, shit, I'm getting older now. Then you start musing your mortality. Around 20, 25, you start musing your mortality completely. And this is where it gets bad. Because all of a sudden you realise, shit, I'm getting old now. But then there are other people who live blissfully until 30 or 40 and still think, I'm okay, it's all going to be okay. No, it's not. You're past middle age. Okay? And yes, I'm going on a bit because it really annoys me deep down. This is a life lesson that is the most important thing in life. The faster you come to accept your mortality, the more you enjoy it. The more you take every bit and you enjoy it. You enjoy every little thing. You stop complaining because you understand that you're all going to lose it in the end. You stop complaining. You stop moaning because you understand that, you don't need to sweat it. You don't need to bitch and moan because you're going to die no matter what. You make $1 billion, you're still going to die. You're a famous artist, you're still going to die. You've had a terrible life, you're still going to die. You're all going to end in the same place. And yes, maybe in 40 or 50 years, through transhumanism, or stem cell research, or 2045, or Aubrey de Grey's works, or David Sinclair's NMN. Otherwise, we can extend human lifespan, or even topple it in some cases. Like 2045, the whole idea of like a brain transplant and so on and so forth. This year we're having a head transplant. The first public one. And yes, these things in the future may be able to topple it. May be able to extend human lifespan and make death a joke. But right now, you need to come to the acceptance and the understanding that you're not immortal. You're not going to live forever. Well, not in this life anyway. You're not going to live forever. You're going to grow old. You're going to break down. You're going to self-destruct. And the last 5 years of your life is going to be miserable. That's why I've opted for suicide. I'd rather die strong than cling on to life. old. But anyway, this is a little thing I want to put out there, okay? I am Packwool, thanks for watching.